Ever feel like the resources and advice out there for women are missing something essential? I thought so too, which is why more than 6 years ago, I created She Said, She Said. I'm Laura Cox Kaplan, and after 3 decades in communications and then advocacy and now juggling motherhood and entrepreneurship, trust me, friend, I get it. Making a real impact takes more than just passion. It takes the right mindset, the right skills, the right investments, and the right community. On this show, we dive deep with incredible women from all walks of life who have been there. We uncover the secrets to building influence, navigating tricky relationships, and staying true to ourselves even when it's tough. And let's face it, it often is. I also throw in my own favorite productivity and life hacks, things that have shifted my perspective and might help you too. Wherever you are in your journey, my goal here is to leave you inspired to define success your way and to help you build the confidence you need to tackle your biggest goals. Subscribe today and let's unlock your full potential, your confidence, and your greatest influence. All right, friend, it is that time of year. We have reached the final episode of She Said, She Said podcast for the year 2024. And what an amazing year it's been. I am so grateful for you, for your engagement and your support, both here at She Said, She Said podcast, but also on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. There really are nice places to engage, and this is definitely one of them, and that is due in large part to you. So thank you for that. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to say just a couple of words about the past year's content. This year, we celebrated our 7th anniversary, our 7th year of She Said, She Said podcast, and our 314th episode, if you are including the one that you're listening to right now. One of the things that makes these episodes and makes my particular focus unique, I think, is the empowered and thoughtful and really supportive approach that we take to women's leadership and development. And I am so truly, truly thrilled that these conversations and the content that I'm creating has resonated with you and that you're finding it so valuable. I have loved hearing from you, and I have loved meeting you during in-person events, and I hope to do so much more of that in 2025. So I'm really excited about all that 2025 holds, and I'll talk a little bit more about some of the things coming up later in this episode. But because we're not quite ready to say goodbye to 2024 just yet, before we dive into all of the holiday things and the reruns of my favorite 2 movies, The Holiday and Elf, those are my 2 favorites, let's talk about something that's perhaps a little unexpected. Planning for the new year, but doing that right now in December. Okay, now I know what you're probably thinking. You're thinking, Laura, are you serious? I don't have enough time to worry about getting everything done for the holidays already. I haven't finished wrapping all the presents or doing all the shopping, let alone thought about my goals for 2025. And I get it. You're absolutely right. December is a whirlwind of holiday cheer and craziness and chaos and trying to tie up all the loose ends at work before the end of the year. And I don't know a single mom on the planet who isn't running around with her hair at least partially on fire right now. Trust me, I see you. I get it. In fact, as I write this, I am personally juggling our own family plans and gifts for both Hanukkah and Christmas, which are conveniently sandwiched between my children's 2 respective birthdays. Not 2 birthdays, but my 2 children's respective birthdays. And still, I am feeling really grateful. Now, normally, Hanukkah comes either ridiculously close to Thanksgiving or ridiculously late, and it causes all sorts of challenges in trying to align gifts so that both holidays are appropriately acknowledged and celebrated. This is actually really a challenge, and it's something that is so important to me and to my family, and trying to get this right creates a lot of stress. So in something of a holiday miracle, at least this year, they overlap. You can ask any mom who celebrates both of these holidays, and she will tell you this is truly a gift. So amidst all this chaos, I try to remind myself I get to do this. That reminder helps me put even the least significant parts of all the holiday planning into more tolerable perspective. Do you do this? It can be a really, really effective way of changing your perspective, and I have found it incredibly valuable. Getting back to the purpose, though, of today's episode, it's to fully acknowledge all that you have on your plate right now, but to help you jump into January with some important groundwork laid so that you're better prepared and really set up to succeed. Just think of this as using a bit of the time that might not be as spoken for to think. Time to ponder while maybe you're wrapping last-minute gifts or sipping your morning coffee, or better yet, and this is my personal favorite, grabbing a few minutes to yourself as you sit in the parking lot of the grocery store or maybe at school before you carry on with your errands. Or maybe it's while you're sitting on the plane on your way to visit relatives. These little moments of found time is when I like to think about the year ahead. Not to do major goal setting, but just to think and to reflect and to start to think about my goals for the new year. It's about making the most of those little stolen moments of quiet reflection time amidst the hustle and holiday bustle, allowing yourself to dream, to envision, and to plan right now for the year ahead. Now imagine this, you wake up on January 1st, not with that overwhelming sense of, where do I begin? But instead with a clearer sense of purpose and hopefully excitement for all that the year has ahead. You'll already have more of what you need to hit the ground running, and hopefully you'll feel more energized and more focused and more ready to tackle whatever comes your way. That, my friend, is the power of pre-planning, and it's easier than you might think. And I'm going to share several key tips that I use to really make this process work well for me, and I hope it will work well for you too. Step 1, and this is the easiest, gather up all your tools now. Now, just as you would prepare for a big presentation, it's important to gather your thoughts and your ideas before jumping in to tackle a project. And in this case, I'm talking more about the tactical things that you'll need to get started. Essentially, your productivity arsenal. Are you like me and have maybe a particular pen or maybe a particular notebook that you live by that keeps all the things in your life organized? While I organize things with both digital and physical tools, my physical tools include the Uniball Vision Elite Micropoint black ink pens. I swear by them. I think they improve not only my penmanship, but also my creativity. I'm not kidding. So I stock up with a new box of 12 in December, so I am ready to hit the ground running in January. I also have a weird thing for my notebook, and for picking a notebook that has pages that are heavy enough to handle the ink of my Uniball Vision Elite Micropoint black ink pens and don't bleed through on the other side so that I can use both sides of the paper. But the notebook also has to be large enough so that I can create my daily checklists and notes for podcasts and ideas and random thoughts and meeting notes and grocery lists and all the things. I simply can't create on a really small notebook. I've tried and it just doesn't work. The notebook has to kind of do everything for me, and I am super picky about my notebooks. I love the black and red 8x10 spiral, and I use about 1 or 2 of these per month. So in December, I pre-order at least 12 of these for the year so that I won't have to think about it again until December. December is when I stock up. Now, you might prefer something more digital, and maybe you have a particular date book that you live by. Whatever it is, the point is track it down right now, get it ordered, put it in a place so that you won't be looking for it and hunting for it in January. Whatever your preferred tools are, just take a few minutes to make sure you have everything you need to hit the ground running. As some of my favorite productivity and time management experts who have joined us on this podcast have told us, This kind of future planning is like a gift to yourself. We've heard that from Laura Vanderkam and Laura Mae Martin and Lisa Woodruff and Carrie Peoples, among others. And frankly, who doesn't love a good present? It's like giving yourself a head start, a little boost of motivation to tackle those New Year's resolutions with gusto. And speaking of gifts for yourself, I have a few more. The second item on my list is to start thinking about overarching themes for the year ahead. Now that you've got your tools ready to go, it's time to set the stage for brainstorming your intentions for the year ahead. Now, I've talked about this on the podcast in the past, but I find great value in picking a word of the year that ultimately helps me create a framework for my bigger objectives. And it's usually a word that helps encapsulate my overarching focus or my overarching intention for the year. It's kind of like a North Star, and it guides my decisions and my actions, and it gives me a gentle reminder of what I'm striving for amidst daily life, or maybe even especially daily chaos. Last year, my word was lighten, as in to lighten up. And I specifically wanted to lighten my load in all areas of my life. Physically, I needed to lose a few pounds. My cholesterol and my blood sugar were too high, and all the things that happens in life. Anyway, but I also needed to deal with clutter. I wanted to lighten up mentally and emotionally. And you know what? I made great progress on those goals. We moved into a newly renovated home, and the process of decluttering, or at least making some headway on decluttering, was really liberating, even though I still, admittedly, have a lot of work to do. And you know what else? It gave me more space to really breathe and to focus on what truly mattered. And while I'd be the first to admit that I still have a lot of work left to do in my decluttering, celebrating that progress was really important. Now, rather than trying to identify what my word might be for 2025, I start the process of beginning to think about those overarching themes and those concepts that might be useful as I kick off the year. And to do that, I ask myself the following questions as I'm contemplating my word. And I thought you might find these questions useful as well, so I want to share them. I'm also going to include this list of questions in the show notes for this episode. I asked myself, what could I use more of in my life? Is it joy, connection, creativity, peace, adventure, love, laughter? Maybe it's all of those things, right? But there's probably going to be one or two that really stand out. Then I think about, what are those areas of my life that feel a little lackluster? Those places where I crave more fulfillment, for example. And I make a few notes. Then I ask myself, what could I use less of in my life? Less clutter, less stress, less negativity, fewer distractions, less self-doubt, less comparison, less overwhelm, etc. And I try to identify those things that are holding me back and draining my energy and preventing me from living my best life. Then I think about, what are those characteristics that I would like to cultivate more of? Maybe patience, resilience, confidence, generosity, courage, kindness, authenticity. And then I think about, what are those qualities that I especially admire in others? And what are those traits that I would like to embody more fully in my own life? How do I want to feel by the end of each day? So think about this in your own life. Imagine yourself at the end of a perfect day. What are the emotions that you are experiencing? What kind of energy are you radiating for yourself and others? Those are the kinds of questions that I like to ask myself in order to begin to think about, what are those big overarching themes where I might want to select my word of the year and begin to think about goal setting. Using your found time to ponder and make a few notes on these questions can be really, really helpful. Just jot down your thoughts and let them simmer and see what emerges. Your word might appear in a flash of inspiration, or it might be revealed to you over a few days or weeks. Or you might find that several words seem to be rising to the top. But trust the process. At least that's what I do. And allow yourself to be guided by your intuition. Another really important tool that I use that I like to begin to think about during this time of the year is my year in review. And this is a chance to kind of take a stroll down memory lane, at least as it relates to the past 12 months. This is a chance to celebrate all those special moments, big wins, small wins, especially the small ones, and to think about the things that I wish maybe I'd handled differently or that had turned out better. But rather than lamenting what didn't or wasn't, instead I try to replace the what ifs with one thing I learned from whatever it was. One positive thing that came out of whatever the situation was. And this is what I call my year in review. You can think of it as a personal celebration of all that you've accomplished and overcome in the past year. And here's how I like to do this. I go back through my calendar and my notebooks, and I reflect on all 12 months for the past year. I make notes in a separate Google document as I go, essentially like a running list of things that made the year particularly special or unique, maybe things that I'm especially proud of. As you think about this yourself, think about what were your biggest accomplishments. Did you land a promotion, for example, or finish that passion project, or finally learn how to bake the perfect angel food cake? What were some of your favorite moments? What was that maybe unforgettable vacation, or that hilarious night out with friends, or the books that you read that changed or enriched your perspective, or maybe the podcasts you listened to that really resonated deeply with you? And then what about challenges you overcame? Did you face a particular fear or navigate through a difficult situation, or just simply persevere through a tough time? What are the lessons you learned? What wisdom did you gain from your experiences, both the big ones and the small ones? As I am in the process of this year in review for myself, I'm looking back over all the photos that we took on some amazing trips this year. But I'm also thinking about time spent right here on this podcast with you. 7 years of this podcast, in fact. And I'm thinking about time not only with you, but with amazing guests who shared ideas that made us think or see the world a little bit differently. And I'm also thinking about relationships that need some tending and how I might do better next year to reconnect with friends that I've lost touch with. I've been making some progress along those lines, but I still have some work to do. And so I'm thinking about all of this. But here's the most important thing to remember as you're going through this exercise. This should not be about dwelling on the negative or beating yourself up for things that you didn't achieve. It's about celebrating your progress, whatever that might be. And it's about acknowledging your growth and gathering valuable insights to help inform your future goals. It's about recognizing how far you've already come and giving yourself credit for all that you've accomplished, no matter how big or small. Because lighter was my word of the year, I embraced cooking at home a lot more than I had in the past. And while I will not be winning any cooking awards or starting any cooking shows, you can just ask my family, I did find the alignment between learning some new skills and developing some of my own recipes really helped me in my quest to shed a few pounds. I don't find following a recipe much of a creative rush. But what I do find that I really love is finding ways of altering recipes and using different ingredients to see how they turn out. And this was especially true for refined sugars. Anywhere that I could substitute something in place of a refined sugar, I gave it a try, and I actually had some pretty cool results. I tell you that because it all ties back to my word, and also tapping into my creativity in this way helped my brain feel lighter and more engaged. So it was kind of like a triple win. Now, don't ask my book club what they thought of my faux fudge. I loved it, but let's just say it's not for everyone. And that doesn't matter. I got a lot of value out of doing that, and it's something that I'll continue to do. Now, finally, step 4, clear the decks and make some space for your brain. Now, I am not suggesting that you go on a decluttering rampage right now. right now during the holidays. In fact, the mere thought of tackling that right now literally gives me major anxiety. Instead, do this one thing. Just clear off your surfaces, especially your desk, and put unfinished projects into piles, bills to be paid, various projects to be sorted together. If you have a few extra minutes, try to whittle those piles down if you can. Make a separate to-do list so that you're capturing in one place all the major things that you still have to do based on those piles. This is a great way to create space for fresh starts and new beginnings. It is amazing how much a clear physical space can contribute to a clear mind. And while I'm all for having everything completely organized and tidy, let's face it, that's just not always practical or accessible for all of us. So do what you can. Even a little bit will make a big difference. Often, when I find myself feeling particularly overwhelmed, tackling one single space or drawer or surface that needs a quick tidying up can do absolute wonders on my mental focus and my peace of mind. It's just amazing. But clearing the decks isn't just about physical clutter. It's also about clearing your mental and emotional clutter and thinking about those things that you might be holding on to that are no longer serving you. Grudges you need to forgive, or negative thoughts you need to release, or maybe limiting beliefs that you need to let go of. This is a great time to reflect on those things. Maybe journal about your feelings. The goal is to release anything that's really weighing you down in order to create space for more positive energy and for new possibilities. So, friend, that's it for our final episode for 2024. Thank you so much for joining me, not just today, but on this journey this year. Many people, in fact, listening have been with me from the very beginning, 7 full years ago, and I am so truly grateful. Friend, I wish you, wherever you are, all the happiness of the holiday season and a beautiful, productive, and reasonably stress-free start to your new year. I will be really excited to see you in 2025, and I will have so many more amazing, thoughtful, inspiring friends and so much great content waiting right here for you. We will also be launching our 4th collaboration series with the Southern Sea starting in mid-spring, and I will be bringing you an incredible bunch of amazing female entrepreneurs to share what they've learned that might help you on your journey. Until then, friend, lots of love to you and yours. Happy holidays. I'll see you in 2025. In the meantime, take care. And remember, She Said, She Said podcast is a weekly production of She Said, She Said Media.